Welcome to the edge of possible. Qualcomm is changing the game, driving advances in on-device AI across industries, giving designers new ways to shape the world we live in, and creating tools that can bring our imaginations
Okay, bring it up.
to life.
Add a solar panel array. Yep, there we go.
Whether you're architecting a new world or reinventing the supply chain, Qualcomm is transforming business to bring intelligent computing everywhere. Helping the auto industry design smarter vehicles.
Don't forget, it's date night tonight.
Why don't you find a store that sells simple creamery ice cream?
So you can sit back and enjoy the drive. Qualcomm is engineering human progress, creating a smarter, more connected world for everyone.
Hello everyone, welcome to the afternoon session. And as superstar CEO Cristiano, I really want to welcome Cristiano and Qualcomm to CadenceLIVE. And you know, we have a long-standing partnership with Qualcomm, and it has really gotten even better with Cristiano. And we share a lot of things together, include love of cars. You know, you have to ask Cristiano about his cars, and he's even restoring some cars, which I'm not in that league, okay. And also our love for F1, you know. I think we met in Vegas as well. So it's a real pleasure to welcome Qualcomm and Cristiano, please.
That was a very intimidating introduction to call a superstar. You know, I tell people at Qualcomm, in today's tech world, you have to have earnings. If you don't have earnings, you have to have growth, and or you have a celebrity CEO. We don't have celebrity CEO, so we have to chase earnings and growth. Those are the only two options we have.
You're doing all the things. Yeah. So I think most people in this audience know, but either Qualcomm is kind of central to a lot of things, all the revolutions that have happened in the last 10, 15 years. But you're also changing Qualcomm, right? We worked together for a while, but now the company has changed, and going forward. So maybe you can tell us about that, how Qualcomm is changing.
Oh, happy to. Yeah. Look, we are, well, first of all, I just want to say, again, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity, I think, to talk to you and to your audience of this Cadence event. But I'll say, Qualcomm, we're in the process of transformation, and I think that has been true for our company. Our company has been always in the process of transformation. Most people probably know Qualcomm and about what we have done in wireless, right? So the whole mobile revolution, actually, for people that don't know, Qualcomm stands for Quality Communications. That's what our name is. And people know what we have done in CDMA, 3G, and 4G, 5G, and I think that it's about connecting. It starts with an idea of creating a technology for use of radio waves so everybody can have a cell phone. Can we connect it to the internet? Can we create broadband? And as we get to the transition, I like to say the transition more from 3G to 4G, it became clear to us at that point in time, as we bring broadband to a cell phone, that the cell phone will become a computer. We'll create a new computing space. I think, to use this new terminology, the computer needed to go fit in the palm of your hand. Most people don't remember this, but we were the first company from being a baseband provider to actually deliver the very first CPU with a clock of 1 gigahertz in a battery-powered device. There was a phone. Like, it was not possible before. So that changed Qualcomm. That was the first big change. From going from a company that was focused on wireless communication to becoming a computing company. Exactly. And that drove a lot of the technologies that is part of what is today the Snapdragon in the mobile industry. And that was about moving from the mobile revolution to redefining connecting processing. And that's where we are right now, which is we build computing capabilities that were very efficient, because from an engineering perspective, the phone is very unforgiving. The phone has 3 areas that you can't compromise. All-day battery life, it cannot be hot. You cannot put a fan in the phone. Yeah. And the form factor is very small. So with the computing technologies we design for the phone, I think we initiated this new transition, which we call the transition we are right now, which is redefining connected processing. We thought that there will be new end markets for those technologies, and it drove Qualcomm from a company that's primarily doing connected processors for phones into enter the PC space with thinking about next generation PCs, the digital transformation of the automotive industry, the new XR type of applications in industrial. And I think that's, we saw that connectivity and high performance, low power computing had an opportunity to transform any industry. And then as we go into the future, it's really about enabling intelligent computing everywhere. I think we all know the new form of computing is AI. I think how NVIDIA communicates about it, accelerated computing, is really the new way of processing information. And you know, we start talking about AI at the edge before it was popular,
yes.
right? So I think that's kind of the story of Qualcomm, right?
Exactly. I remember even, you know, because you have remarkable chips, but you always had the modem, the CPU, which was great, long-term, and then GPU. Qualcomm GPUs are always amazing in a mobile, you know, form factor. So maybe you how do you view the partnership with Cadence? Can you talk a little bit about that? Yeah.
Yes, look, I think it's a very broad partnership. I think I would say it's a relationship which I will define as a strategic relationship for Qualcomm. It's very broad, as you know, but it's good to understand Qualcomm. We have, when we think about building our products, we develop this different IP engines, whether it's a cellular modem on Wi-Fi, whether it's a CPU, a GPU, an NPU, an image signal processor, all of the different IP, and we design them to scale you can think about it from a watch and an earbud all the way to something that you have a data center type performance on a car, for example, or in an edge computing solution. And we build different SoCs. And I think our partnership with Cadence is very pervasive as we develop the IP and we build those SoCs. I think it's as you know, it's a broad cooperation. And we like that as Cadence is evolving, our partnership is evolving too. I think what we've been doing with your AI engines, you know, we really like the evolution of leveraging AI for design. I think what we're doing in verification, and you know, I'm happy to report that both design verification and emulation has been fundamental to significantly reduce the design cycle time and actually enable us to have this ability to scale. You should think about it this way. If we didn't have those type of partnerships, we won't be able to build SoC for so many industries all at the same time. And I think this is the opportunity that I think working with Cadence have enabled us to do.
Yeah, thank you, Cristiano. It's a great partnership. Actually, even today in CadenceLIVE, Qualcomm has several papers, you know, talking about different aspects, include AI in verification, AI in design. So we truly value. And also Qualcomm has a whole range, like you said, of design types and products, right? Analog, you are great in analog, digital, you know, different modem, CPU, GPU, NPU, and of course you have also teams across the world. So we are glad to partner in the US, partner in India, all other geographies. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Now in terms of, you know, given the breadth of Qualcomm and then the breadth of industries and also the breadth of geographies, right? You basically operate all over the world in all kind of high-tech industries. So what trends excite you the most? You know, there's a lot of things going on, but what trends, you know?
Look, there's a number, and I think they're somewhat associated with this opportunity that we saw to expand the number of end markets for Qualcomm. One that we started early, we're bullish about it, we'll continue to invest, and it's just going to be a matter of time, is the merger of physical and digital worlds. I think it's what you see today with mixed reality, virtual reality, augmented reality. we're 100% convinced that it's no longer a silicon problem. I think eventually you're going to get economy scale in optics, but when you especially look of the ability of having yet another computing space, which is glasses, we see that as a big opportunity, and that drives a lot of the things we're doing within the space, our partnership with Meta, our partnership with Google, Samsung, and many other companies. The other trend that we really like, and I will, you know, it should not be a surprise to anybody, is the ability of AI to get scale. And this AI, and we're very focused on AI on device. AI on device is going to evolve different than the way that you know, AI evolves in the cloud. We really like that opportunity, and that's changing how we think about computing and the use of computer in many other devices. So another one that I like is sometimes the automakers don't talk it that way, but from our perspective as a chip company, the car is becoming another computer, right? Yes. It's the trend, which is the car is another computing space, and that's I like it to communicate it that way, which is we used to think about it. Your computing space was your desktop and your laptop, and all of a sudden the phone arrives, and I remember when people thought about, oh, the phone's going to eliminate the PC. No, of course not. It's a new computing space. The car is going to be another computing space, and people are going to get entertained from the car. They're going to work from the car. So we're excited about that trend. And I think the other one, which is yet another growth area for the company, is this is one I really consider unlimited demand. The problem is there's so much friction, and there's so much different things that need to happen, but is the digital transformation of all the enterprises. You know, I like to provide example. You can pick anyone. You can pick any vertical. If you pick energy, you pick retail, you can pick healthcare, and you see how those industries are being transformed by technology. And I like to provide some simple examples. Energy. Energy, you had a company doing generation, you have a company doing transmission, then you have distribution, you have a centralized generation. Now you go to a home, you have solar, you have an EV, you plug in that, you have a whole different energy management solution. They needed to become intelligent. It's not about just connecting a meter. Yeah. You go all the way to a retail. Every shop now is an e-commerce. You needed to manage inventory at the shelf as what do you see with smart cameras. So we think that that's another big trend of digital transformation enterprises. So those are the things that are happening right now, and that's why we are optimistic about actually the semiconductor industry and the role of technology, especially at the edge.
Yes. Actually, it's remarkable to see how many trends Qualcomm is in the middle of. You know, there are so many of these are all big trends, right? You know, you mentioned 4 or 5 really massive trends, right? Now, in terms of AI itself, okay, that of course it has taken the consciousness of the world over the last 12 to 18 months. So, what's your view on AI and how it will shape especially consumer experience, right?
Yes, we're very opinionated on this.
Yeah.
And what is exciting, I think, for a company like Qualcomm and for many of our partners is, I think what I said before, AI is developing now parallel to the cloud. And I think the devices, they have now 2 very distinct opportunities. One opportunity is what we talk about it. I think we even wrote a number of things about this, which is hybrid AI. And that is the ability to offload the data center by leveraging the computing power that exists on the devices at the edge, or giving the data center a head start, or even to be able to work in combination, because things that you do on the device, whether it's your PC, whether it's your phone, they have a lot more precision about what you're trying to do because there's context around you. So we see this huge opportunity of what is happening on the cloud to work in partnership with the device. The other thing is the AI on device is evolving completely different with completely different use cases for the user. So I think we actually had a video to show about some of the use cases that you see happen on AI, for example, on device. But let me walk you to some of those examples. Think about this AI now running pervasively. The AI is just running. And you started to see that come to life now. We can see phones talking about, I have this feature. But what was fascinating is we used to see like 10 use cases. Now people are talking about hundreds. It's going to evolve to thousands. But the way you should think about this, that the AI is trying to predict your every move. It's just running. Something as simple as you text, what you write on the text could be a prompt for a model. And the model will say, okay, there's nothing for me to do. Oh, there's something for me to do. I may need to ask you, if you want to share this data, I may need to find this document for you. You're talking about it. You may want to call an Uber. I may want you to do a navigation. I may want to do different things. That's one way. As an assistant, try to predict your movement. But there are other things as the AI is running pervasively. And what I like about it is there's both the aspect that I mentioned about hybrid, but also the aspect of building on things that are going to be unique to you, your own private data, the reliability that is required. And there's a number of different examples I can provide. For example, automotive.
Yeah.
One of the exciting discussions we have are all automotive customers. Even if you have a model, the model gets running in the Snapdragon Digital Cockpit using RAG, you can actually train that model on the entire database of that model vehicle. And then you have a question that goes way beyond having the ability to have a digital operating manual that interpret your question and tell you where it is in the manual, even to say this is what's happening in your car, this is the action you can take. If you want to schedule an appointment, we're going to do it for you. Like one of the things we did, we had some interesting demos combining a Gen AI model, combining with the training of the model on the database of the car, and then we had the integration of Salesforce. We'll actually immediately connect to the OEM company and tell you availability of appointment and take action within that. You can think about that. Navigation is another example. But I like to go back to this hybrid environment. Think about this. You're doing something, we usually talk about text. I want to give you maybe an example of image. Right. Let's say you're doing a design. You're doing a design. You're designing a PowerPoint, or you're creating a picture, you're creating a digital picture, and you go to your ideation phase. And you're doing a lot of different interactions. If all of you use AI for some of those things, you probably do a couple interactions to see something you like. You can do that on the device, having the model running on the device. And then when it's time for you to go, I'm going to go to production, then you do it in combination with the cloud. The economic to the company that's providing the service change when you think about hybrid, as well as the query becomes a lot more precise as you go to your interactions yourself. So we see that very clear is a huge opportunity. That's why we're building chips that can do multiple billion model parameters running on phones, on, of course, the AI PC, automotive, and so forth. And on that whole conversation of AI, I think it's going to change this on-device AI is going to change the computing of many industries, and that's why it had enabled Qualcomm to even take a position on industries well established, like the personal computing industry as an example.
Exactly. Yeah, it's super exciting. You know, first of all, I mean, there's all this news that, you know, this year, next year will be the AI phone, you know, all these applications on the phone. And there are some that came out also using your chips earlier in the year, right, in Asia. These phone came out. I know they're all using Qualcomm chips for that. So it's super exciting response in Korea and all for these new phones. So it'll be interesting to see how like you're saying, how the phone industry is going to change with AI.
Yes. And it's just the beginning. Right. This is just the beginning. I like to use this example. I like to use this example because I've seen it. I just because we've seen, especially because you're talking about mobile. I gave an example on car. But because you talk about mobile, we lived in that world for many generations. The way I see what's happening right now, think about the transition from your feature phone, let's say your Nokia phone or your BlackBerry phone, to a smartphone. Yeah. And the first time you saw the smartphone, you probably had 10 apps or 15 apps, and now we have hundreds of thousands of
Yes.
apps. You should think about the same way about some of those Gen AI use cases. Right now, we're just the beginning.
Right.
Oh, look at this. This is new, and I can have this app. And we start to see those use cases. If we have this conversation 1 year from now, that conversation is going to be very different.
Exactly. Actually, I was in Korea a month ago, and this thing came out, this AI phone using your chips, and I asked them, what do people find most exciting? And it was like on-the-fly translation, from one language to the other. But there'll be so many other applications. But you also recently, launched these exciting chips for PCs, for laptops. It's like amazing performance integrated with modem and CPU and GPU and AI. So that whole industry itself, let's call it laptop or personal computing, is going through massive transformation. And Qualcomm is right in the middle of it, providing extremely new solutions. So, and I know this is probably one of your initiatives. So what's your take on this super exciting market? Yeah.
Look, for us, this is a new market.
Yeah.
Like for us, it's a new market. We know it's established market. There's a market which is mature but continues to evolve. But the reason we're so excited about this market, besides the obvious thing, which is a new market, we can sell more silicon and expand into that market. We like it because there's some few opportunities like this that we see 3 different tailwinds all happening at the same time. And that's what led to Snapdragon X Elite. I think one, I'm going to make a provocative statement here, but that's our intent as the new entrant into the space.
Yeah.
I think Snapdragon X Elite create an opportunity to restore the performance leadership to the Windows ecosystem. I think we are incredibly excited about Snapdragon X Elite, basically the fastest processor that exists for a laptop right now. And that is one of those tailwinds. Creates a new benchmark for performance in the industry, which is continuing to evolve. The second tailwind is on-device AI. And the ability to run on-device AI pervasively, especially when you think about the Windows ecosystem with the Copilot, which I think Microsoft has very ambitious plans, and the ability to run some of those use cases on the device as well, as we talk about it, completely new features that happens on the device, plus how that works together with the Copilot in the cloud. That's the second tailwind, which we have ability to show that we can do something different in terms of performance per watt. Can we run this, like if I can do it on the phone, running all day on the phone, we can do it running all day in a PC and without compromising battery life. And I think the number 3 is convergence of mobile and PC. And this is not well understood. I think this is not well understood. Let me give you a very simple way to describe this. So today, if you think, I think all of us, I'm sure that I'm going to describe a scenario for everybody here in the room. You have your phone, and there are certain things maybe you get this email that you need to respond, and it's going to be very complicated. So you say, I'm gonna wait until I get to my office or my home. I have a quiet moment with my keyboard and my screen. I'm going to write this long, complicated response. You're not going to do it on your phone. Maybe some simple things you do on your phone. People have different preference. Things like the Copilot drafting an email for you, it's way more useful in the situation that you have a phone, for example. So what's going to happen is this convergence of mobile and PC is going to drive more and more of those on-device AI use cases, which is about the reliability, the response time, and the ability to complement the cloud. So when we look at those 3 things, that's the reason we went and designed X Elite, and we're optimistic about it.
Yeah, it's truly remarkable. I mean, a couple of things. One thing is interesting to see, Microsoft supporting it so vigorously, right? Because the software ecosystem has to come with it. And then, I was talking to all these, I'm sure you're more than familiar with all these trends. But one thing to point out is talking to all these people, of these models, right? What's going to happen to LLM models, right? Will they get bigger or will they get smaller? And a lot of these AI companies they think that the models can be made smaller, but still have enough fidelity and accuracy, especially for on-device AI. because one, like X Elite can already do huge models, but the models don't need to be as big as 1 trillion or 600 billion. So it'll be a natural merger of very, very powerful AI, which can be just run locally on the compute, right?
Yeah, I think what I will say about this is there's a lot of technology being developed that we have been spending when our research team a lot of time on this, including automation. But there's a lot of technologies that are being created for quantization of those models in a way that you can actually quantize some of those models, not lose accuracy, and create a mechanism that eventually is going to be like what you do with an app on your phone. Like you have an app, and then eventually you get pushed from the App Store, a new version of the app. And this is going to be like business as usual. You're going to have models that get automatically quantized. They are now running in devices. In some cases, you can decide how big you want the model to be, depending on what device you want it to run. And then you have the ability to constantly update it, and I think that's how those things are going to evolve. And I like to use an auto example to kind of describe this. Even though we have been seeing incredible results of some of those models when they run on device and maintaining accuracy, I want to give you maybe a different thought process. Yeah. When you think about auto, and we have been partnering with many different companies using their stack, but we also have our own stack for assisted driving and autonomy. As an example, we're doing jointly with BMW, developing the stack. We have a number of other companies who are working together, leveraging our stack. And in automotive, you can have different applications of autonomy. You can decide that you're going to have level 1, level 2, 2+, 3, 3+, and you can go from, for example, a lot of people want to do highway autopilot to all the way to fully autonomous self-driving. And there are different applications. There's a market for all of those different applications. So what we're starting to realize is the opportunity for on-device AI goes to models that are very well-trained and up-to-date and quantized, and you're going to have the ability to have that model to be very precise. But also you have a lot of different models for specific applications that people said, I don't need all of this. I just want the model to be trained on this data and to do this very fast, very reliable, with privacy on the data, and I wanted to do that very economically. So that's why we even see, for example, industrial cases for Gen AI evolving at a very fast pace as well.
Exactly. And talking about autos, actually, first of all, something we both love. I saw that you have, massive backlog and penetration in the auto sector now. Almost all, when I go travel around the world, almost all auto companies are working with Qualcomm.
Oh, thank you. That's great news.
This is like a big change from few years ago. Honestly, it's a remarkable transformation of the auto industry, and so I think it's good to see this kind of massive. But how do you see do you have a front row seat on the entire auto sector, and they have been traditionally slower than like PC or data center. So what's your take on the auto now? Are they going to go as fast, or what is the?
Look, it's a great question. I love talking about this. And I'll start maybe commenting on what you said. As I go back and I talk about the history and the journey of Qualcomm, I think the automotive is the best possible example of how we in the company benefited, and we actually addressed the market in a very short period of time. We benefited for some of the core competencies we developed coming from a mobile heritage. It's very simple. When you look at a car today, and you look at the whole computing experience of a fully immersive digital cockpit, when you look of the ability to be now connected to the cloud, to this digital twin, being inseparable for the cloud, and you look at the computing power, including AI, that is required to run autonomy stacks, you cannot put a server on a trunk of a car because you're taken away from the range. So you have to have a solution that has the server type computing power, but it has the mobile type power efficiency. And I think that has been the Qualcomm secret sauce and the ability to build a solution with both silicon and software for the car companies. Now, the second part of your question is actually the most exciting part. The car company is going through a massive amount of transformation for technology, as well as a transformation of its customer base. Consumers of cars today are very different than consumers of cars of yesterday. And the companies needed to change. They need to become digital companies. Car companies are now, the ones that are going to be very successful are tech companies. And what a change is, you have an industry that was geared towards how did they plan those things over a long period of time, into now their measure of by the speed of feature development. It's companies are going to be more valuable by how much your car gets better during the ownership. But let's say you're going to buy a car and you're going to keep it for 5 years or 7 years. How much more can I add value to that car versus how many different stages of the platform development? Companies to be agile. And I think that means that therefore those companies need partnerships, and they needed to embrace, I think, this new customer. Even how they interact with their customers. Like the reason we had a very successful and was a natural partnership with companies like Salesforce as an example that is now built in the Qualcomm Snapdragon Digital Cockpit. The car company didn't have a direct relationship with the customer. That was done by the dealership. But now, through those screens of the car company is there with you all the time. What's your account? What are you doing? And what are the things you want to do? Those things is changing the dynamic, and I think that actually creates opportunity for technology.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, we talked about a lot of big trends, right? We talked about Qualcomm transformation, AI, laptop, desktop computing, that's a huge transformation for automotive. But of course, Qualcomm has always been central to the mobile, right? So there's this, if we are in the 5G, and there's all this talk of 5G to 6G, the transformation, migration. So how do you see that?
Yes. Well, it's going to happen. Definitely after 5G, 6G is coming. It happens every, the cadence of, no pun intended, but the cadence of the mobile industries every 10 years, you have a new generation of wireless. So 6G is scheduled to the end of the decade, about 2030. And we're going to see trials coming in. I think we're very happy with a number of the contributions we had made to the standards, how the standards development is on track. And I like to answer this question a little bit different. Every generation of wireless, and that's just how we thought about this in Qualcomm. And with all this computing and AI, we're still a wireless company doing what we need to do in cellular. But we look at every generation of wireless with a problem to be solved. So the problem of 2G from analog to digital is, can I make sure everybody on Earth has a phone? Problem of 3G is, can I connect that phone to the internet? Problem of 4G is, can I bring broadband to the phone? The problem of 5G is, I'm going to move to an environment that is unlimited data rates, and I need to support mission critical applications. I needed to be able to go from best effort to a guaranteed connectivity, and that's a lot of the things that came with 5G. 6G, it's a new concept. It's a whole new paradigm, which is about the network is in itself is alive and combining with everything that is connected in the network, that's the network, and you add sensing capabilities to the network. And that's where we're going to see an incredible manifestation of AI as the network's going to become autonomous, and you're going to see a lot of sensing capabilities happening within the network itself in the wide area. Think about the wide area sensing network. That's one way to describe it. There's a lot more to talk about it, but I think we are as excited about 6G as we have been excited about every new generation of wireless.
Wow, great. So Cristiano, so on the personal side or your leadership philosophy, of course, Qualcomm is a huge company, right? And working in all parts of the world, you're involved in so many different technologies, from mobile to automotive to, AI to desktop computing. So what's your thoughts on advice for people in the audience, engineers and managers? What's your leadership philosophy to run such a important technology company?
Look, I don't know if I can provide good advice. I think I will just start with the premise, since I'm providing a device for free, maybe it's not that good, but I'll tell you some of the things that has been valid for me as in my own journey, has been valid for the company and the culture we have in the company. First one is one that I always answer this question with exactly the same answer, because that's how I always felt about it, and I think it did help me in my career. I think one is surround yourself with people that are better than you are. You know, you have to have people working in your team that is going to do things better than you'll be able to do yourself. I think, you know, a manager has the job of actually pointing people in the right direction and get the collection of the capabilities of the team to perform. I think the other thing is, in Qualcomm, we take a lot of pride of having a culture of collaboration. We don't have a lot of warring clans within the company. I think you know, everybody wins and loses together. Other things, I always over communicate. I think I do things which I don't know if it's a good idea or bad idea, but like when we talk about the strategy, we make sure that everybody understands the strategy. Sometimes we even distribute a strategy on a page to every single employee, so you can kind of think about yourself, how you fit within that strategy, and how in everything you do, you align with the company, because the power of ideas and capabilities that come from every single individual, especially if you have an organization that has a lot of smart people, it's enormous. A couple other things. Even when we're doing well, we tend to think inside that we're not doing well. So it is very dangerous in our industry to become complacent. I have often in interviews provide this example, and I will repeat it, and as long as I'm in Qualcomm, I'm going to say that is the example. I tell our teams that we are in the gladiator business. I don't know if people have heard me talking about this. Like, you go to the Coliseum, the three possible outcomes, especially in the tech world, you have to always reinvent yourself anyway. So you can win, you can lose, or you both lose, right? So that's kind of the outcome. And if you win, the only thing you got is the right to go to the Coliseum one more time, right? So that's it. That's what happens. And I think we have to always be pushing ourselves, reinventing ourselves. But and I think Qualcomm, hopefully, when we look at the history of the company, I love the company. I'm very biased, been there since 1995. I joined as an engineer. I think the company has been to a lot of near-death experiences, and we reinvented ourselves. And I think that we take that as part of our culture, part of our strength.
Oh, that's great, Cristiano. I hadn't heard the gladiator one, but that's a good one. Well, thank you for your insightful comments.
Oh, thank you.
Also, thank you for the great partnership with Cadence. You know, this broad-ranging partnership. You have amazing engineering teams, and it's great to learn from you and your engineering team. They're world-class all over the world. So thank you for that, and thank you for being here at Cadence.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes,
thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.